Thanks, Iris. To continue our focus on child safety, this morning we talk about brain injuries and how they can really affect children long-term if not treated properly. With us this morning is Dr. Maria Korth, Children's Mercy Hospital neuropsychologist and assistant professor of pediatrics at UMKC School of Medicine. My goodness, you're decorated. As well as Thomas Baker, clinic director over at Heartscope Learning. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. This is a very important topic. It has been in the news because of a lot of the NFL players that are getting concussions playing, but as you guys are telling me, hey, kids can get this anywhere. You can get it walking down the sidewalk and having a fall. Do you see a lot of kids that are having brain injuries from some of the more typical activities? Oh,
absolutely. I see children certainly from sports events, also from car accidents. The younger ones oftentimes are from falls. Could be just riding their bike. Yeah, there's lots of different reasons.
We certainly talk a lot about prevention. What can we do ahead of time? How can we try to prevent this? There's, they're trying to make helmets safer. They're trying to, make you more aware of everything. What can be done?
Well, the first thing, Mark, is to understand what a concussion is and is not. And old school, which was anything before 2003, says that you had to be knocked out, you had to lose consciousness to have a concussion. And that, in fact, only represents about 10% of actual concussions. So a concussion is defined as any change in mental status. Dizziness, crying, blurred vision, forgetting things right before the play, forgetting things right after the play. Those are also definitions of a typical 7-year-old's behavior, so it can be really, really hard to identify just what is a concussion.
How do you educate parents then to know whether they have a fall on the sidewalk that's very hard or maybe a hard hit in a game, soccer game, football game?
Well, the reason parents should be concerned about it now is because now, before sports season starts in the fall, is when they should be working with their schools and their coaches and their administrators to begin parent education, coach education, trainer education. It's mandatory in the state of Kansas, mandatory in the state of Missouri for high school, but it's not for younger kids. And yet younger kids are just as, if not more, vulnerable for concussions. So if you have a child anywhere from age 7 to 13 and you're a parent and you're concerned, there are things you can be doing right now to help your school get prepared for the fall.
Let's face it, these are going to happen. No matter how much you try to prevent it, you're going to have children that have concussions. So what do you do after the fact?
Well, that's a good point. Concussions will happen even if you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And so what we want to make sure of is that these kids are taken care of appropriately. And the biggest thing is rest. And, I always say it's the easiest thing, but it's also the hardest thing because kids are active and, we want them to have cognitive rest and physical rest. And a big part of their day is school, and that's a cognitive activity.
When kids have concussions, if they're not treated correctly after the concussion, that can snowball into long-term issues, can't it?
Absolutely. When you have the recovery from concussion, that stage right after is called that post-concussive stage. The longer you're in that stage, the more, the higher risk you are. Well, let me say that differently. While you're in that stage, you're in a higher risk for sustaining a concussion. And so what started as one concussion sometimes can lead to more concussions.
Certainly an important topic. We have the myth that we're busting as well. What we asked was that parents, all they can do is sit back, hope for the best because concussions are inevitable with tough play.
Well, Mark, old school tough play meant taking a little bit of smelling salts and getting back in there and hitting the guy hard again and making him more dizzy than you are yourself. New school, the definition of courage is saying, hey, something's wrong with my buddy, something's wrong with my athlete. The best thing I can do for the team, the best thing I can do for my friend, the best thing I can do for this student is to say, hey, sit it out, let's get evaluated, make sure that you don't have a concussion. Because if you do and you have multiple concussions, then you're not going to be that much help to the team for the rest of the season.
Get them out. All right. Thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate a very important topic. You can find out much more at kcbrain.org/smartsports. We'll also have that linked on our website, kctv5.com. Thanks again for coming in. The time now is 10:57. There's the clock. A former firefighter has found a new passion in life, dog sledding in Waldo. It's a story you have to see. It's coming up next.